Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Salutes to everybody. Much love and respect. We are back. I'm your host, Key Norfolk. This is the Nation One Love podcast show. Please hit the like button. Please like, share, and subscribe. Support the channel. Salutes to everybody. P. Moses, salute. Salutes to everybody, man. Please hit that like button for us so we can get the stream shared. Salutes to everybody. Help us get back into the algorithm. Much appreciated. Now tonight's stream is about the FDA and the depopulation agenda. Now your depopulation agenda is FDA approved. We all know the job of the FDA is to secure the public from any food contaminations, from any drug contaminations. To keep the Food and Drug Administration go hand in hand. They've been administering drugs to go hand in hand with the food and vice versa. So tonight we want to get into exactly what the FDA's job is. We all know since 2020, with the pandemic, when they came out with COVID, we're looking at what was a pandemic. Excuse me, I said the pandemic. And we can see that this was a pandemic. We can see that this was a pandemic because we can see the response that Fauci had when Fauci was asked the questions that he had. A lot of individuals did not notice that this was a pandemic. It was kind of hard to explain to a lot of people. A lot of people didn't see why, why this would want to be done. This goes along with the depopulation agenda. Okay. These people have been talking about global warming for some times. They've been talking about global warming for some time. So they actually knew about the global warming, about the intensity of these solar flares that we're having right now. So I want to go over an overview of what the FDA and its purpose is. Now, the Food and Drug Administration, we all know it's a United States federal agency under the Department of Health and Human Services. Now, its core purpose is to protect public health by ensuring the safety, efficiency, and security of human and veterinary drugs, biological products, medical devices, the food supply, cosmetics, and radiation emitting products. So, with that being said, we can see why after this COVID thing that we can kind of look into that it went further than the jab. We can see that these nanoparticles have been administered through our food. These nanoparticles have been administered through our cosmetics. Because once again, I'm going to read that. What is the purpose of the Food and Drug Administration? Its purpose is to protect public health by ensuring the safety, efficiency, and security of human and veterinary drugs, biological products, medical devices, the food supply, cosmetics, and radiation emitting products. And that's right. They are in charge of food and drugs, the FDA. So if we have the FDA in charge of food and drugs, and their primary agenda or their primary job is to protect the public health, why did we have the issues that we had when it came to the CV19, when it came to the jab? How was this passed along to the public? All the foods that's being recalled lately, how were those foods being put into the grocery stores? How were those foods being given out to the public that will harm the public? because the depopulation agenda is funded. It's being approved by the FDA. Now, this agency, what do the FDA do? Now, this agency works to safeguard consumers and advance public health through specific regulatory actions. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to review clinical trial data to test if drugs and medical devices are safe and work well before they are sold, which is something that they failed to do with the CV-19. They failed to do that with the vax. They gave it to us in a situation or a narrative to where there wasn't enough time supposedly for them to test this. Okay. Now, they're supposed to monitor domestic and imported food, dietary supplements, and pet food to prevent contamination. But wait, the contaminated food is not coming from outside sources. The contaminated food is coming from companies with products that are made right here on American soil. So that leads me to believe that they are picking certain companies, certain distributors to be able to administer their sickness, to be able to administer their nanoparticles into the public. And I think that these people are taking pay cuts because before 2020, I don't remember too many foods being recalled. Out of my whole life before 2020, I can only remember about 10 to 20 foods being recalled ever. But for some reason, within the last 4 or 5 years, we've had hundreds of food being recalled. I did a stream called Food for Thought for a while where I was updating the public weekly about hundreds of foods that were being recalled. So if we are supposed to be protected by the Food and Drug Administration, if they're supposed to make sure these foods are secure before they hit the shelves, why are there so many recalls right now? There should not be so many recalls right now. If your job, if what you're getting paid for is to prevent sicknesses, if your job is to secure us, then that means that they're not doing a very good job. Now, the FDA oversees tobacco and radiation producing items like X-ray machines and microwaves. Everything that we're naming right now, under the guise of what they're supposed to regulate and control, we are not fully protected for. They share health information, publishes clear science-backed guidance so people can use medicines and food safely, like they did with the CV-19, when they told us that the unvaccinated was the problem, and now look where we are today. Now, their key areas of regulation is foods. Now, they're supposed to ensure proper labeling, safe additives, and uncontaminated produce or packaged goods. Now, we see the scare with the lettuce. We see the scare with the strawberries. Okay. We see the scare now this week with the eggs, the cheese. So if the FDA is put here to protect us from these contaminated foods, then where is the protection? If they're not doing their job, then what is their job to do? Their job is to approve the depopulation agenda. When you got people like Fauci, when you got people like Bill Gates, these same people have been talking about global warming. So I'm going to give y'all my thoughts. I'm going to give y'all how I feel, why I feel that the depopulation agenda is even a thing. I feel like these people know that at some point they're going to retreat to their underground cities, to their underground bunkers, because of this global warming situation. And with this global warming situation, if they retreat under the ground, they're going to want to depopulate most of at least this country. They're gonna want to depopulate most of the world, so things don't get taken over while they're under the ground. If you think about it, it makes sense. If you think about it, it makes sense because those people are not the majority in this country. We are not the minority in this country. They get their numbers hyped up because they are adding Arabs, they're adding Asians, they're adding all these other nationalities of people to their numbers to make it seem like they're more than what they really are. So my thoughts is that the depopulation agenda is so they can maintain some leverage so when they do pop back out of the ground, because these solar flares are ripping them apart. And I'm not just going to say that the solar flares are just affecting white people. The solar flares are affecting anyone who's not hydrated enough, or should I say alkaline enough. Yes, it's affecting the white people with the skin cancer, but it's also affecting people who look like me and you. And I'm sure that there's whites and other people watching this too, but I'm talking to my brothers and sisters right now. Even brothers and sisters will be affected by the sun if your body is full of toxic things. Okay. So they also oversee vaccines, blood products, and cellular therapies. Okay. Now, who controls the FDA? The Food and Drug Administration is controlled by the United States government. It is an agency inside the Department of Health and Human Services. The President of the United States picks the head leader, called the Commissioner of Food and Drugs, and the U.S. Senate must approve them. So if the government and the president is in control of picking the Commissioner of Foods and Drugs, and we see what we got from CV-19. We see what they're now telling us about the aspirin, the Tylenol. We see what all these other drugs, so these drugs do for, with their side effects. Okay. We see what these things do. Now, the president nominates the FDA leader. The U.S. Senate votes to approve the leader. Secretary of Health and Human Services, the cabinet member who oversees the entire department where the FDA lives. So this is all, guided by the government. So the FDA is only approving the plans from the government. So think about it. If they are here to protect us as far as food and drugs, and they're not protecting us, and the order is coming down from the United States government, this is not an individual agency outside of the government. This agency is overseen by the government. This is why I'm telling you today that the depopulation agenda is FDA approved. Okay. Now the commissioner runs the daily work and sets the rules for the agency. Now they got special centers where the agency split into smaller groups for specific safety tasks, and this includes the drugs, the food, the medical devices, vaccines, and biologics, the veterinary medicine, and tobacco products. They even want to give these vaccines to the pets and all the animals. Even Bill Gates with his fake meat agenda. Now, this is allegedly. All the information tonight is allegedly, for security reasons. So if Bill Gates is putting out his fake meat agenda, and they're in cahoots with Tyson's Food. So the majority of all the chicken that you could basically buy from a restaurant right now is fake meat. What's in this fake meat? Why are they getting rid of and filling the landfills with so many live chickens just to feed us fake chicken, fake meat? Why is this fake meat a thing? It's because the Food and the Drug Administration go hand in hand. Once they seen how many people were lined up to take the vax and they didn't get everybody, they're now starting to administer this thing through the food. They wanted to see how many people was going to take it straight up first. They couldn't get everybody with just coming and taking a straight up jab. So then they went to administer this thing through the food. So this is where we have to be smart. This is where we have to be watchful. What's on recall? What can you eat today? Even the healthy foods are contaminated if you look at the food recalls. So you got to watch what type of brand of lettuce you eat. You got to eat just fresh farm eggs. Better, let alone they got this poison in the sky. You know, there's been the chemtrails. There's been the fog sessions that they've been having in certain particular places at certain times. They got the water contaminated. So it's kind of hard to avoid these things, especially when it comes to cosmetics. You got to be a person who's not, who's going to use an alternative to brush your teeth rather than toothpaste every day. You got to be using that baking soda. You got to use that peroxide. You understand what I'm saying? You got to find a deodorant alternative. Putting something under your arm is just like eating it or swallowing it. So there are plenty different avenues for them to get to us what they want to get to us. Now, we want to look at what Trump has done to the FDA. Now, the second Trump administration significantly reshaped the U.S. Food and Drug Administration through major leadership shifts under HSS Security Robert F. Kennedy Jr., workforce reductions, and shifting priorities toward the Make America Healthy Again agenda, including new oversight rules for food ingredients and efforts to fast track certain drug approvals. Well, if under Trump's second term, they reshaped the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. If they reshape the Food and Drug Administration, then why do we have so many recalls today? We just had over 60 recalls up to last week ago. At least 30 to 60 recalls on food within the last week. And you mean to tell me that they're reshaping the FDA? We're known now that this is overseen by the government. So if we're having a drug issue, we're also having a food issue. If we're having a food issue, we're also having a drug issue. You got to think about that. The people who are supposed to be keeping us secure and making sure that we're taking food and drugs that's going to keep the country healthy are the same ones who's poisoning us. This is why the depopulation agenda is approved by the FDA, because they're not approving safe food. They're not approving safe drugs. Look like the only thing they're approving to me is the depopulation agenda. That's what it look like they're approving to me. Now, they got a thing that say, is the FDA trustworthy? The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is a science-based regulatory agency with strict standards for drug and medical device safety. Yet, public trust varies widely. While its rigorous clinical data reviews are considered global benchmark, critics point to industry funding, political pressures, and slow responses to certain public health risks as reason for skepticism. So if that's the case, then why are they there? Why are they in place? They're telling us that they're in place to regulate these foods and drugs before we receive them. If they're not regulating these food and drugs before we receiving them, then what the fuck are they doing? What are they doing? This is why I'm telling y'all right now that their job is to approve the depopulation agenda. Now, I am going to drop the link if anyone has any information or anything that they want to drop on this, but I'm going to continue. Okay. And we want to look at Trump did reduce FDA regulations. The Trump administration pursued broad regulatory policies. Now, we had Kennedy speaking along with Trump, and they were giving us this good speech about all the good things that they wanted to do to get Americans to eating healthier food. But it seemed like the more they spoke about us eating healthier foods, it seemed like the more fucked up the food got. You know, all they did was tell people that you can't buy sodas and sweets and shit like that with the food stamps. They didn't do no food. They didn't give us the sodas that they got in France. You know, over in the Arab countries, they drink sodas with beet juice, man. If you go to the halal store and get those sodas just as good. Actually, they taste better. So they put us in a position where now these children and a lot of these parents are addicted to these chips and sodas and ho-hos and fat cakes and shit like that. And they know they're only gonna go and spend their hard-earned money on this shit. They're addicted to it. The foods are drugs. Sugar, you just a couple of chromosomes off from cocaine with a fucking bag of sugar. It's damn near the same thing. They know that these people are addicted to these foods. They know that they have these people addicted to these drugs. Look at the side effects on the drugs you take. Side effects. It may cause swelling, itchiness, redness. You might have to wear a pamper. You might shit on yourself. You know, these are side effects that come along with medication that you're taking for a headache or, you know, for heart conditions or pain and shit like that. So imagine this food that they're giving us. This shit is approved by the FDA. It's coming to time to where these people, it's getting hard for them to breathe. This is anybody who's living a toxic lifestyle. Their sun gonna tear your ass up right now. I don't know where everybody else lives, but it's been 103, 104 degrees on the regular. The more alkaline I keep my body, the more hydrated I stay, the more I can deal with outside. If I eat bad and I'm drinking alcohol and I'm not keeping my body nourished, then that sun is bad on a person. On top of that, they have to deal with the skin cancers. I've been seeing so many Caucasian people outside with long sleeves on, and I'm having people who don't understand why they gotta have the long sleeves on. This sun ain't playing. This is the global warming that these people were talking about. We're coming back upon that 2600-year recycle period. This is what the Hopis were talking about. We gotta stay woke. They keeping us distracted with this war shit. They keeping us distracted with this racial you know, tension. that they're bringing. It's the people in power. It's the people who are committed to this corporation called the United States of America, aka under Satan's authority, the USA. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta be mindful. We gotta understand that we can't trust these people because they don't give a damn about us. That's why it kind of puzzles me that after the pandemic, a lot of our people wasn't thinking about gardening and shit like that. You know, we thinking about chasing the bag when we see with inflation, you know, the more money you make, the more problems you're gonna have. Because soon as you get enough money to buy a truckload of bread, they're gonna make a loaf of bread cost half a truckload. This is called inflation. This is what's been happening to us. We steady chasing money and we're not peeping the play. We not peeping that these people got a whole nother agenda in place. We keep trying to liberate ourselves by getting more dollars when dollars is for their game. The only thing gonna liberate us is ending their game. So why would we chase something to wrap us further and further into their game? This is the trick. We should be trying to medicate ourselves. We should be trying to feed ourselves to force their hand. They're trying to force our hand. They want you to act a motherfucking fool. They want you to go out and start fucking trying to fuck up these Arabs. Anybody who's practicing Islam, they want you to go to war with them motherfuckers. Or they want black and white people to go to war against each other and shit so they can have a reason to spank both of y'all ass. They're looking for a reason anyway. They not gonna move unless you make them move. So while you sitting not moving, you might as well move because while you sitting not moving, you just taking the medication on a fucking regular on time. If you gotta take your medication at 8 in the morning, you gonna take your death shot at 8 in the morning. You gonna swallow your death pill at noon. You gonna eat them real deviled eggs soon as you wake up in the morning. Like, this shit is ridiculous. The depopulation agenda is being approved by the FDA. That's the only motherfucking thing that they're approving. Because all the medicine is killing a motherfucker. All the food is killing a motherfucker. You can't eat a fucking salad without getting some poison. And the funniest thing was them talking about people eating the lettuce. It was going to give them diarrhea. A lot of motherfuckers is full of shit anyway. I think that would be good for a lot of motherfuckers who full of shit anyway. A lot of people need to take a good shit. Got people scared of eating healthy. You know, got people scared to eat healthy, man. So I want to pull up this other little thing. And if you just join it, you know, I'm gonna read this again. You know, I want to double down on what I'm saying. The Food and Drug Administration is a United States federal agency under the Department of Health and Human Services. Its core purpose is to protect public health by ensuring the safety, efficiency, and the security of human and veterinary drugs, biological products, medical devices, the food supply, cosmetics, and radiation emitting products. These are the same motherfuckers who are somehow all these recall foods keep slipping by them. If they can't keep if it's so many foods that have been recalled and these motherfuckers ain't doing their job, why the fuck ain't nobody fired them? I'm pretty sure if planes kept landing and all the pilots kept crashing and fucking everybody up, they wouldn't let them pilots keep flying them motherfucking planes. But for some reason, the FDA get pass after pass. It's because they letting this shit out on purpose, allegedly. I ain't the smartest motherfucker in the world, but 2 plus 2 is 4. And 3 ain't enough, and 5 is too motherfucking much. You know, that's what I think. That's how I feel. You know, I ain't the smartest motherfucker in the world, but I ain't no fucking dummy either. They put this man on the stand and asked him about that motherfucking vaccine, and that nigga said, I plead the fifth. He's so motherfucking nervous, he want to get drunk. No, they done fuck these people up. Then they come out and tell you every motherfucking thing. They got a time release on that motherfucking thing, man. A time release. Time release. Start giving you shit in the capsule. Why all these shits equate to time when it comes to this medication? Time release, capsules, time capsules. Come on, man. Wake up. Wake the fuck up. People still trusting in his government. People still trusting in his whole system of things. When these people are feeding you death. People lining up to go to these doctors, to these hospitals. I gotta get a colonoscopy because I'm over 40. They gonna poke a hole in your ass and give you some more shit. They can send a grain of rice to a whole nother country and it can read everybody's heart rate. Why do I need to bend over so you can look at my ass and tell what's wrong with me? You got microphones the size of a rice grain. Miss me with the bullshit. I don't know if Bill Gates the second beast of Revelation, but I tell you what, he's a low down motherfucker. I know that much. He came out of his mouth and he said it no high or nothing, talking about the depopulation program. But when you show people these things who believe in this science, you gotta know what this science seance is. Science seance, right? Right? What is a seance? It sounds familiar. Science seance. What is a seance? I'm gonna give you guys the direct definition. Bear with me. Salutes to everybody, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, man. Please like, share, and subscribe. Support the channel. Now, a seance is a gathering where people try to talk with the spirits of dead people. Often a person called a medium help lead the group and speaks to the ghosts. Now, we're believing in science or seance, right? All these people are doing are they've been genetically modifying the human. They've been terraformed the man and the woman along with this earth since they've been in control. They've been terraforming you and I since they've been able to, just like they've terraformed the earth. They giving the motherfucking animals vaccinations too. So when they come from under that ground, when the smoke clear, they're gonna be able to give us a whole nother. They've been sitting back trying to think about what kind of animals and shit they want when they come back from under the ground. You seen them putting that lion and that tiger together. They got shit called a liger and all this shit that they've been experimenting with. man, they gonna come back up to a whole new world. They're making plans and preparations. And see, there will be a little bit left. Only the strong will survive. Who can survive what's gonna happen on the earth while everybody's sitting around starving, eating each other and shit because ain't no food, or unaliving each other trying to get what this person got because they didn't save up and stock up. Like I said, this FDA, they're only approving this depopulation program. You think we're gonna wait till the last minute? So you think soon as the war stop break off, you think they gonna have some seeds in that motherfucker for you to go buy? You think they gonna have a last day sale? You think you're gonna be able to go in there, bitch, and buy some bullets so you can go to war with the soldiers who gonna be coming in the house to get your ass because they're gonna be telling you gotta go to these concentration camps that they told you that they built for these motherfucking foreigners. But boy, they ain't been fucking with no foreigners like that. I only been seeing them shoot like white women and keep hanging niggas. Ain't no motherfucking foreigners in them motherfucking camps that they done built and shit. That's for your ass when they get ready to start rounding people to fuck up. The TV series, let me see. Have I watched the TV series Silo? No, I haven't, but I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna have to check that out. Now that you mentioned it. I try not to watch too much TV, although that you know, there I feel like with the TV, that there it helps get the people comfortable for the things they working on for what's to come. I think it's a part of manifest destiny because I feel like a lot of people, you know, start to accept the things that they see on the TV. It's just like we was talking about when the children watch the cartoons. When certain cartoons and stuff had came out, now if you look today, you see a lot of people walking around looking like Bart Simpson and shit. You know what I'm saying? You see a lot of people walking around. You know, you even got cat people and frog people. You got people who act like dogs and shit. You know, we start watching all this weird shit. You know, if they show you like what a demon or a monster used to look like on TV, it have all these scars on it and shit. So they start getting people to get comfortable with getting these tattoos and shit on their body. It's to the point to where a lot of people got tattoos that look like scars. They're mimicking. They want to look like a fucking monster. You understand what I'm saying? These motherfuckers want to look like a monster. The algorithm, Al of gore is evil, like some horrific, evil, monstrous type shit. And rhythm song. So of the evil song. You understand what I'm saying? The algorithm. Everybody are horny. Who's horny? Who got horns on their head? The depiction of what Satan is, the archetype of what evil is. This shit is crazy, man. So we have to really pay attention. I think when people start thinking about spiritual shit, I think the Bible got them so fucked up. Even though they don't go by the Bible got them so fucked up that they disregard what's spiritual. Spiritual ain't got shit to do with religion, the Bible, or none of that. Spiritual is the spiral, the direction, the energy behind a thing, person, place, thing, or situation. This is what we need to recognize. So we disregard spirituality because we disregard the Bible, or you disregard God, or you can't disregard spirituality when you have a spirit yourself. You have an energy yourself. When they hook your ass up to that heart machine in the hospital when you unconscious, they make sure the spirit is still in the body. How they know the spirit is still in the body? Because your heartbeat still going and your pulse and shit still moving. That means your characteristics of who you are is still operating. You just unconscious. Otherwise, they wouldn't know this shit. It go beep, beep, beep. They let them know, hey, you still ticking. So we got to be aware of these foods and these drugs that's has a time release to take us out of here. You know, these nanobots, they're telling you that people ain't gonna no longer need medication in the future. Well, I knew that during 2020, before they even had the nano shit in you. They wanted to see if the nano shit that they had in you from the air and the water was enough. So when we start having issues, everybody couldn't go to the hospital, but you had to call in, tell the doctor what's wrong with you. But little did you know, they was trying to use receptors to see if they can manage your shit. This was all a test run. It was all a simulation. It was a test run for them to see if they can administer medicine through the body through nanotechnology. And we sitting here thinking this shit a game. We steady sitting up here talking about P. Diddy fucking niggas in the ass. We steady sitting up here talking about crazy bullshit, not even knowing that these motherfuckers are killing you softly with a motherfucking song. We steady in the past. We steady talking about 1776, 1859, 1492. Fuck all that shit. Niggas finna end up being motherfucking history. And I mean gone. These motherfuckers is making plans for the next 100 years and niggas still looking up old shit. Better wake the fuck up. Because I guarantee you, the Agenda 3030 shit, you think you in some shit now. Wait till they turn the heat up on this motherfucker and you in a pot of boiling shit. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get crazy. Do you think these flock cameras and all this type of shit for? These motherfuckers are gonna be in a remote area so that they can sit up and watch this shit. You seen the Hunger Games, you seen Lost. Speaking of shit to really see, you know what I'm saying? Where they just sitting back monitoring this shit, watching this shit. This what they gonna do. People steady sitting up talking about voting for the next motherfucker. Man, these Democrats. Man, these Republicans. Man, fuck that whole bird, okay? Cook that whole motherfucker. Cause it's done. People seem to think if you got something bad to say about Trump, that mean you a fucking Democrat. Or if you don't like the Democrats, that mean you for Trump. I don't fuck with none of that bullshit. None of that bullshit ain't gonna help us. All that bullshit is just a distraction. And if we don't stop participating, everybody else got a safe haven in this motherfucker. The Mexicans, I don't give a fuck. Say what you want to say about the Mexicans. Them motherfuckers got a safe haven. If some shit pop off in America right now, the motherfucking Mexicans gonna take care of each other. The white people, if some shit pop off, they gonna take care of each other. Them Africans that's over here, some shit pop off, they gonna take care of each other. Meanwhile, I can't even accidentally step on a nigga's shoe without him being ready to blow my fucking brains out. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So it's our people who need to wake the fuck up and realize, at least put something together. Like, we still got to keep living life. And really, you can't stop a motherfucker from doing what they gonna do. But if you stay ready, you ain't gonna have to get ready. If we can stay ready with shit like food, we can stay. They trying to diminish Dr. Sabi's legacy right now. All the things that he taught, or how to keep yourself healthy. Why? Because they want you to take their motherfucking drugs so they can dictate whether you be healthy or not. We got to be able to see clear. We got to be able to see through this shit. I was asked, what is the third eye? This is the third eye. This is what's using the third eye, being able to see this type of shit, to be able to see through this type of shit. Your third eye should be open. Awareness. You ask, what is all this for? What are all these esoteric teachings for? And also you can see through the bullshit. So you can be able to decode this shit. So you could be able to see what's on code and what's not on code. So you could be able to dodge the hijack. That was my theory about the motherfucking depopulation. You know, they ain't gonna be able to sit up this motherfucker for too much longer. They couldn't go to the moon. They didn't know though. So we get mad at them thinking that they thought that they can go to the moon. They didn't fucking know. They really thought the moon was livable and a place you can go to and all that shit. They just found out. You see, all that shit about the moon don't stop now. This is just history repeating itself. This ain't the first time they done depopulated this motherfucker and they gonna start this bitch over again. They just need to make sure that they get rid of most of the motherfuckers who thinking like me, and that the motherfuckers they do leave up here on this motherfucker is motherfuckers who still who believe the rhetoric that they're spilling, who still believe and trust in the system. They don't care what color your skin is, but they want you to have be a white-minded motherfucker. So when they come back up this bitch, it won't be hard for them to reobtain and maintain their slaves to continue their system. This is what this shit is all about. They was telling us about global warming, making us think that they was concerned about motherfucking ice melting and all this shit. No, they was concerned about ass melting, skin falling off of motherfuckers, heat strokes and dehydration and skin burning and shit like that. They was worried about ass melting. They weren't worried about no ice melt. That's what they was worried about. And now we here. And now we here and we're moving toward this 2030 agenda, and the people still ain't prepared. Every time the people start getting prepared, they come with they come with another distraction. They just keep coming with distraction after distraction after distraction after distraction. People are buying into these distractions. People are buying into these distractions, man. What's some good gossip, or what's some good, what's some good shit for us to take our minds off of what's actually taking place. The only thing that's taking place is that the people are being duped. We being beat down. And then they want to start some racial shit, not even knowing that, allegedly these are my thoughts. These are my thoughts and my thoughts only, just a thought. Allegedly, I feel like, the police got a lot of shit to do with these black people that's being hung and shit, because, they're trying to incite some racial shit. They done already sold us this fake ass slavery narrative to already stamp your subconscious to feel bad and think your great great grandma was being molested and shit like that. So as soon as they can reiterate this shit in your mind and show you what you already fear in your subconscious, that triggers something. That whole play in the 60s, Martin Luther King marching and shit like that, you know, that was the people getting fucked up. Man, I'm from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Man, my grandpa ain't never had nothing happen to him by no fucking white boy, ain't did shit to none of my uncles. Bro, I ain't just saying this. You know, I'm one of the people who bring my family online all the time. If you've been following me, you know I don't have no issue. You know my family listening. You know I have my family on, my real family all the time. I'm real transparent about who I am. My family hasn't had these stories that people have, that people talk about happening to them. You know, maybe some have, but hey, I'm from the heart of the South. Never none of this. All of this shit was a story to fit this narrative, to fit what's going on today. These people are planning ahead. This is why I'm telling my people who are steady trying to figure out who they are, you need to figure out who you finna be. Who you finna be is coming up quicker. It's coming up. Who you were, that's time to passed on. You got to learn how to be who you is first and keep yourself from being who you don't want to be. I'm going to say that again. You got to figure out how to be who you are and how to keep yourself from turning into who you don't want to be. Then go back and figure out who the fuck you was then. Because these people, time waits for no man. These people ain't waiting. They coming up with the next thing to do to the fucking food. They coming up to the next thing to do to the fucking water. They're coming up with a new pandemic. They're moving ahead. So we have to move ahead. We can't stay stuck in the past. That's how the fuck history keep repeating itself, because we stay stuck in the past. In order to keep history from repeating itself, we gonna have to start planning for the future. And I ain't just talking about black people. I'm talking about anybody who's sick and tired of the shit that this government's been putting us through. Using us like pawns. Treating us like slaves. Getting rid of us like animals. That's who this is for. And then we got a lot of boule ass niggas. You know, I'll trade one of them niggas. I'll trade all them niggas for 5 good white boys who saying fuck this government, that they tired of it too. Cause we got niggas who know what's going on, who know what's the deal. They don't give a fuck. They've signed their soul over. These motherfuckers who want to keep reincarnating through this motherfucker, who children are already in line to follow their footsteps through nepotism and shit like that. So they don't give a fuck. They're going to keep this hell of a system going. They're going to keep this hell of a system moving. Meanwhile, we suffering in this shit because we trying to be just and upright and play by the rules. And that's why we lose. Ain't no fair game that we playing. Keep giving these motherfuckers the benefit of the doubt. Like we live in a real country. Like the president give a fuck about us. Like they're trying to protect us. Every time they telling you they're trying to protect you from a motherfucking foreign enemy, it's your ass. You are the foreign enemy. During the pandemic, when they told everybody to quarantine, if you had to quarantine and if they told you to stay in the fucking house and put a mask on, that meant that you were the enemy. If you anything that's quarantined and from military tactics is the threat. You quarantine the threat. Only the threat gets quarantined. If I'm lying, somebody who's military trained and educated can tell me I'm lying. It's time to wake the fuck up. It's time to see through the veil. It's time to take those motherfucking shades off. Open your eyes and see clearly what's happening, what's actually taking place. We got to find alternative ways of healing ourselves. We got to find alternative ways of eating. You know, I know it's hard, but it ain't hard to stay away from the fast food places. Stay away from them because they all on board. Especially if they sell a lot of chicken with the beef too. You know, they are the fast food places are in cahoots with Tyson Foods, and Tyson Foods and Bill Gates are right hand in hand. So a lot of the places that are supplied by Tyson Foods are giving us this fake meat. So they're giving us this fake meat. There's no telling what's in the fake meat. It can be nanoparticles. It can be the COVID ingredients. Anything. We know it's not real meat, so we want to stay away from it. Even the meat in the grocery stores. So you know, all I can give you as far as you know, my advice would be to eat a lot more nuts, like you know, grains, shit like that, and try to fast where you eat less. Anyway, I would still stick with the fruits and the veggies, but the main thing is, you know, support your local farmers and learn to grow your own. Just do the best that you can because right now we in the fire. Right now, in the fire right now, and these people are getting closer and closer to their time limits. So we got to really pay attention to what's happening next. We got to not get distracted by what's going on in the media, and we got to start preparing. First, we got to know what's up. We got to be certain about what's up. You know, we were certain about 2020. We were certain about COVID. We're certain about the foods being tampered with. If you're coming across this video and if you are under the sound of my voice, there should be no excuse for you not knowing that the FDA is not your friend. The FDA is here to approve the motherfucking depopulation agenda. You gotta know this. Don't think I'm knowing what I'm talking about. It's not what I'm talking about. Let's not say this is Key's information. Fuck that. This is what they're showing us. I'm just pointing it out. I ain't here to take the credit for no fucking information. I'm here to open your motherfucking eyes to show you, don't you see what I'm seeing? Fuck it being my information. That's niggas' problem now. I want us to see the same shit so we can figure out what we gonna do together. Everybody think they just gonna be able to have their own back. No, it ain't gonna work like that. It's gonna take a coming together. And it's gonna take us saying, fuck some of these motherfucking boule ass, boot licking ass niggas. And it's gonna take us to take up some allies that don't look like us too. Some people who feel the same. And some people who are able to assist us. Some people who don't want to be slaves. And some people who tired of being fucked around. These white people, on paper, they pencil whipping our ass. It's like playing dominoes getting pencil whipped. Because they done added all these other groups to their score. When they're the motherfucking minority over here, it's 30 million black people over this motherfucker, but then they telling you it's only like 13. They telling you that you the minority. They're the fucking minority. They've added Mexicans to be with them. They add Germans to be with them, Arabics to be with them. Every motherfucker on the planet who come over here is got to sign in as white. Of course it's gonna look like it's more of them motherfuckers. If everybody else who come over here sign up is white, but when it's actually how many white people is it, then what it's gonna look like? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. You can't fool nothing but a fool. You can't fool no motherfucking damn fool. See, I ain't no fool. I'm a damn fool. You can't fool a damn fool, but you can fool a fool. This is why they don't want to engage in no war like that. It is war, but it's a biological war. It's a chemical war. It's a spiritual war. It's a mental war. You think your oppressor gonna fight you fair? No, they gonna throw some shit in your eyes, man. They gonna put some shit in your water while you going to your corner to get your cuts worked on. You going to your corner to take a sip of water and you getting poisoned the whole time. They ain't gonna fight you fair. Irie 69, thank you. Appreciate you. And salutes to everybody. I ask that y'all please like, share, and subscribe, support the channel. This is a informative stream, and I just want to talk and make sure that we're aware of what's going on. A lot of individuals don't really take into consideration that this is a plan by the government. So I'm here to assure that we know that this is in the government's plan. None of this shit is happening by accident. Everything they do is planned, plotted, and strategized. They're not making any accidents. And we have to stop allowing them to make us think that they are doing this shit by accident. Oh, the vax was we didn't have enough time to test the jab. You didn't have enough time to test it. Where did this shit come from? Why was this? You act like you were so sure. And then we got somebody like Trump who he act like he not with it, but he is though. See, this is the trick. Then he telling you, oh, it's from China. Then he not really with the jab. Then he get on TV and take a fucking saline shot. The same shit that he put in his arm wasn't the same shit them people got in their arm when they died suddenly. MAGA. MAGA is the magi. The magi is the magician. This shit is sorcery. That's why your mind playing tricks on you. If you following that motherfucking magic wand, they make their magic wands out of holy wood. It's holy wood because they pray and cast spells over their wood. Hollywood through 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 broadcast and channels. This is indirectly or directly. When they broadcast something to you, is indirectly. They broadcasting this so it go out to whoever see it. But then when you tune in to a channel, they know exactly who they dealing with. Then see, this is how they're doing their witchcraft. This is how they're completing their spell work. You got to know that we dealing with sorcerers, witches, and warlocks. And then they got their mid-level witches and warlocks and shit. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be aware of who we dealing with. You gotta realize where the fuck you at. When you see that pyramid on the back of that dollar, you gotta know who the fuck you dealing with. And they got all of these people talking about Egypt and all this shit. This is the old world. That shit over there is fake. All that shit over there is new. All of this shit over there is new. And they're gonna come back with their food pyramids, and they're gonna come up with their standard diets and shit like that. When you think about it, chicken. Chicken ain't no that yard bird, man. That chicken, that's new. Chicken ain't ancient. Cows ain't ancient. They had to domesticate some shit for their terraformation, for what they wanted the human or mankind to be. They terraformed the earth for these certain animals and these certain type of people to be able to survive in. That's why we know we dealing with something that's not like us. We're dealing with a parasite. We dealing with a with a with a with a with a murderer. We dealing with a thief. We dealing with a liar, a deceiver. That's who we dealing with. And it's still hard for us to convince many of those out there that their government doesn't care about them. They don't give a fuck about us. They're going to come up with another, uh, uh, you know, way to cover up the next thing that they do to the people. If you keep trusting the government, we got to stop participating. Make them show their hand. Make them go on and come out and be straightforward with it. Do not allow them to continue to deceive us, continue to poison us by food, to continue to poison us by medication. We can't allow them to get rid of our ability to be able to grow our own food or our ability to be able to medicate ourselves. We got to get ahead of it. That's what I'm saying. We need to start planning ahead. We need to start planning for the future. We need to secure ourselves where we're at. It's time out for the history lesson. We've all had children in this world that we got to at least take some responsibility of protecting. We can't blame the elders so much as now. They didn't have information at their fingertips. And another thing with that information at your fingertips, Google is not a search engine. AI is not a search engine. 9 times out of 10, when you look up some shit, no, 100 out of 100, they gonna tell you what they want you to hear, unless you know how to search some shit. If you don't know how to search for what you looking for, and you looking for the first thing AI tell you, so you think AI is gonna tell you something against the establishment? You're fucking crazy. You're fucking insane. If you think you finna AI some shit and AI gonna be on your side against the establishment, you are a motherfucking fool. You a dumb motherfucker if you think AI finna tell you something on how to combat this motherfucking system. I'm gonna Mr. T your ass. I pity you, fool, if you think AI is on your side. AI can tell you what you want to hear, all the while upholding the laws and statutes of this motherfucking corporation. That's what it's for. It's a digital script, nigga. Just like the script goes along with the manifestation of their destiny now. Why you saying it's prophecy when it ain't shit but planning? Ain't no fucking such thing as prophecy when they plan this shit the whole time. I'm tired of niggas trying to figure out another way to make this shit right when all this shit is wrong. You can chocolate coat this shit all you want to. It's still fuckery and it's still the same. The blind leading the blind. That's why we can't see shit. That's why we can't see shit. They tricking you with them two eyes that's popping out your motherfucking head. But you can't be so dumb that you can't open that eye that's in your head to see past this bullshit. You won't let the mother of your children play with you, but you let the government play with you. You won't let the father of your children play with you. You want to split that motherfucking household up quick than a motherfucker over the smallest thing, but yet and still, you won't get off this government's dick, and that make me sick, man. That's a shame. That's a fucking shame. I pray you wake the fuck up. It's not my job to save everybody. It's each individual's job to save themselves, but we could at least come together and we gotta be a form of self. That's why my last stream was what the fuck is black power? White power don't even exist. That's a fucking mirage. But black power damn so don't exist. If we steady trusting these motherfuckers, every time we turn around, we got another fucking uh bootlicking ass nigga coming up on these platforms telling us that the next fucking president is gonna be better than the last. Telling us we didn't vote right last time. When these motherfuckers keep doing the same thing every time they get a chance. Every time we give them a chance, we disappointed and gotta wait another 4 years for to next time to keep doing the same shit over and over again. That's insane. It's insane to keep doing the same shit over and over again. Y'all know that. You know that, but how soon we forget? Because we've been sold on this American dream. That's why niggas is still asleep. Because we still chasing the American dream. We think because we can all go out and punch a clock for a white man or Asian man or Arab man. And see, we forget that the Mexican is in there too. So they make us fourth and fifth class citizens at this point. Why? Because they know a nigga ain't gonna do shit. Look at how they keep playing with us. They keep hanging motherfuckers, and ain't nobody did shit yet. And every time they do that bullshit, it's a slap in the face, it's a spit in the face, and they smile and smirk and light another cigar and say, "That's what the fuck I thought." This is where we at. This is where we at with this government. They have no intentions on protecting you. They have no intentions on healing you. They have no intentions on keeping you alive. They just want to create a situation to where you accept your own motherfucking death. You gotta accept this jab. You gotta accept this food. If you don't grow your own food, we got these food stamps for you. Or we got Walmart open for your motherfucking ass. You can't buy shit but what we got in here to sell your ass. Ain't no healthy food in this motherfucker. Ain't no healthy medication in this motherfucker. You niggas won't take care of yourself, so we gonna show your ass. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not gonna get better. It's not gonna go back the way that it was. A lot of people think, I want to make this vote and I'm gonna support this so things will go back the way it was supposed to be. No, we thought ICE was coming to get rid of all the immigrants. I bet you still see the same amount of immigrants in your motherfucking neighborhood, if not more. What type of people lost their lives from the ICE agents? It's gonna come to you one day. Their plan is to ignite a situation to set martial law in place. Donald Trump does not want to give up the presidency. Donald Trump is not going to give up the presidency. I'm calling a home run before I hit it at the park, like always. He ain't going nowhere. We talk about the last president. First of all, they got this war started. That's one grounds. If this war kick off and get real extra intense, then he definitely not going nowhere. But soon as the situation is being ignited on U.S. ground to where martial law has to take place, that holds Trump in office. That keeps Trump from having to give up his seat. There will not be a presidential election. That's going to keep them secure to be able to execute their 2030 agenda. To put everybody in a police state, to make everyone a digital slave. We spoke about this years ago. One of my first shows, one of my first 10 to 15 shows from 2022, Universal Basic Income. Why are they doing this? They won't need you doing much when the machines and AI is doing every motherfucking thing. You just gonna sit at home. And that's why they've been training you through these motherfucking games, PlayStation games and shit like that. Digital currency, getting you to buy Bitcoin and shit like that. They get used to moving numbers and shit, imaginary fake ass numbers and shit like that. They getting you ready. Sit at home, curfews on the street, especially if we go on the martial law. You got to order everything from the motherfucking computer or the phone. We want to wake up, man. I am going to allow 10 minutes for anybody who wants to join the call and give any insight from anything you heard me say or anything you got on your mind to go along with this, man. Shout out to everybody in the bill. Shout out to DJ Jaguar, salute. My brother P Moses, salute. Irie69, salute. Much love and respect. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to donate to the channel, the Cash App is Key Norfolk 2022. The PayPal is keynorfolk@gmail.com. Salute. And like I said, I will leave these last 10 minutes open for um, anyone who wants to join. I did not get a chance to share the stream myself, so I wanted to make sure I was on time for the stream. So salutes to everybody who is here. Much respect, family, peace, and power. So I do appreciate everyone who was here because I did not get to share the stream myself. I felt like it was more important to do this stream while I had the energy to do it, while I felt like doing it, and while I had these things on my mind to bring to the table. I do want to make sure that the information has quality to it. From now on, while we're doing these streams, and I will be doing some open panel streams. Uh, we might be able to do that a little later. We'll see how it goes. We'll see if we want the show extended. It depends on if we get anybody to come up and join in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But yeah, man, I just really want everybody to pay attention to the Food and Drug Administration. This who's sending the hits. This is who's sending the hits. So I do. Now, major ongoing food recalls include nationwide voluntary recalls by Taylor Farms. Okay. Um, 20 plus prepared foods. And this includes salsas, dips, burritos, guacamole. And now the newest thing is the jalapeno peppers tied to a multi-state salmonella outbreak. Regional produce alerts for iceberg lettuce over cyclospora and a recall of lactation granola due to salmonella concerns as well. So HEB prepared foods, over 35 store brand items recalled or pulled over the expanding salmonella jalapeno connection. You want to check your fridge and your pantry for pre-made salsas, dips, prepared meals containing peppers or specific recall granola. Don't eat the recall items. You know what I'm saying? You want to go and throw them out, um, or return them to the store or purchase for a refund because these people are getting a payout to put these foods out that they're going to recall. But the thing is, a lot of people are not returning these foods. A lot of people are just tossing them out. So they're getting to keep the millions that they make off selling it. Then they're getting to get the millions that they're getting off getting the payout to put these foods out. So it's things that we can do too. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's things that we can do too. You know what I'm saying? To try to fight against this situation, should I say? Okay. And when it comes to the medical part of it, we got to just try to stay on our health, especially if you're out here in this heat. We know that there has been extreme heat waves. So, we want to try to stay hydrated as much as possible. I do want to note that boiling water does not clean water. Um, boiling water don't clean water. The only way you got to boil the water and you're going to have to let it condense. You got to let it get the vapor. So if you're boiling water, you want to set up a copper a hood with a slant so you could distill this water. You understand what I'm saying? That's the only thing gonna clean the water. Water vapor is so when you boiling water, it's creating water vapor. The water that's still in the pot still dirty. So it don't matter how hot you get it. Now I can tell you, you might kill a parasite, but the contamination part that's in the water gonna still be in there. So that's another thing I wanted to say because a lot of people think that boiling water cleans water. That is not true. If you don't believe me, try to look it up. Just find you a source though. Don't just Google something and take the first answer that they give you. Google is not a source. Google is a search engine. The only way to get clean water through boiling is to distill it. And you need to set up a mechanism to where you have a copper slant that's taking that water vapor and letting it drip down to another container. Now, when that other container fills up, that's going to be the clean water. Okay. Or you can make another concoction to where you use um, sand, you can use paper towel or something like that too with rocks, get your layers together, make the paper towel or whatever that is, the last level to where it can strain it to come down and then boil it. That'll be a little bit better. But the best way to get some clean water is to distill it. Shout out to my brother T. Riggles, man. Welcome to the bill. Salute. Much love and respect.
Hey, much love, man. Much love, man. How you feeling, Key?
Oh man, I can't complain, man. It's a beautiful day, man. I got on top of this hydration thing, man, with this sun. So you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to outlive this motherfucker, man. I'm trying to be hotter than it, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I had to pass out after um the build we did with OG, man. Shouts out to and look, shouts out to the chat, y'all. Much love to you. Oh, continue what you was doing. My bad to break up what you were saying because what was you saying? You filled the cup with water and then now you filtered it through something pouring into another cup. Continue with that.
Yeah. You want to because people think that boiling water cleans the water when that's not true. The only way to clean the water is to distill it. So you have to boil the water and you have to use a copper slanted mechanism to where the water's distilling down into another container because the water vapor is the clean part of the water. The water
Mhm.
that's actually escaping through water vapor is the clean part of the water. So I did
Mm.
want to point that out. What you think about the Food and Drug Administration being, approving the depopulation agenda allegedly? How you feel about that?
Oh, they approved it. I don't expect nothing
Well,
less
well
from the
yeah, I'm
food
saying.
drug.
I'm saying that that's what they're approving because you got to think about it. When we think about the medications that's causing sickness, when we think about the foods that's being um, recalled off of the shelves, you know, it has to go through the FDA first. So what are they doing? Why do we even have the FDA if the shit that's bad for us is they're passing it and then they're having to recall it? I thought their job was to prevent this from happening in the first place. And there's so many foods that's being recalled now. Is anybody in their office or are they just, using AI to pass this shit up? How you feel about this?
Yeah, well, it's to me the FDA is as business as usual. They are very. Let's just say that there should be food that should be entered here that is going to heal us, but they ban those. I noticed that. They ban foods that are really good for us, and then the ones that are bad for us, oh, they let that ride through. So that's the position that FDA stance is, in my opinion. And when you look at, I'm pretty sure everyone listening and you, Key, when you've seen the video where, Frosted Flakes, the Frosted Flakes in Europe ingredients are different from the ingredients here. So that should tell everyone, what you're dealing with here. And I like,
Yeah, man, because that was another agenda. This whole cereal thing, you know, was put out there. The whole breakfast agenda in the first place, man. The whole breakfast agenda was created to um be like one of the beginning stages of this food cycle, breaking this food cycle down. That's where they introduced the pork. A lot of people consume the most pork during breakfast.
mm,
You know, bacon, sausage. During a time to where you breaking your fast. A lot of people are waking up, grabbing food first thing in the morning before they eat again. You know what I'm saying? So, especially with these frosted flakes. Now, a lot of these cereals are just packed with sugar. They're packed with um, things that will, sterilize the individual. So you on point with that frosted flakes.
oh yeah, man. Shit, man, I was a Frosted Flake bandit. I can go through back in the day, man. I can go through 2 boxes, easy, 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 easy. I know my parents were probably upset with like who's eating all the Frosted Flakes and the Honey Nut Cheerios. I just bought this yesterday. Oh, well, my bad. You know what I mean? But now, maybe that's the
Easy.
reason, huh?
Oh, no, no, no. Go ahead.
I've ate so much cereal. I was reflecting. I was thinking, is this the reason why I don't have any children? I mean, even though I have been, I've been practicing, when with the activity back in the day, my thought process was always, it's better out than in, right? And so, I thought always to myself, I was like, well, I'm not getting anybody pregnant. Could this be the reason why? I was just reflecting, because I was a cereal eater, and not anymore. That I tossed out along with all
Right,
the with all the dairy. I tossed all of that out in my 30s. So
right. And I don't want to primarily just go to that because different people got different um genetic makeup. People got different chemical makeup.
mm,
And the blood type can be different.
mm,
Some people shaking, some people stirred. You know what I'm saying? So we got different uh types of oil inside of us. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it can definitely be a reason. I know that is a reason. Some things take effects on some faster than others, but there's definitely some things that are being administered through food, drugs, even so much as the air we breathe, the water we drink, that's contaminating us, that's sterilizing the people, that's putting nanoparticles inside the body, and so on and so forth.
yeah. No, that's facts. And when I was reflecting on, okay, like I said, I don't have children. I went, on a really deep kind of reflecting thing, and so I basically got the answer through my reflecting, and it's something that you and I spoke about offline, with what's going on. So, it's a new variable for me on the table now. You know what I'm saying? Like now I have something to look at when all logic and reasoning, because we're very logical people. When logic and reasoning is out the window, okay, now I got to go. Now I have something to go to. So Yeah, I figured it out.
Facts. And I think we've given this government chance after chance after chance, and so many people who made it to these high levels with the elite, and these people who are running this earth have seen what's actually taking place and have tried to come back down and tell us, hey man, they don't give a fuck about us. Hey man, they doing this, they doing that. And these are usually the people who targeted and get erased. Um, so what's your thoughts on this 2030 plan that's coming up? They got the flock cameras. Do you think they're gonna come with another pandemic, or how you think this gonna take effect here?
Well, Key, I just I just watched a brother that came onto my feed probably about 2 months ago. Uh the Diary of a CEO. You know, and it's a brother, and he's from England. Very, very interesting dude, brings very interesting topics to the forefront. And the last one I watched, it was a 2 hour little interview, was an open AI programmer, a whistleblower. And anybody knows, if you work for like a Steve Altman or Elon Musty, right? That when you break away from them, you can't say anything. And if you do say something, or if you figured something out that they're doing wrong, off with your head. And so this whistleblower is a brave man. I would say he's pretty brave, and turning down a $2 million deal. And I thought that was impressive. And he said that, by 27, 28, we're going to start really seeing massive, automative, robotic, super intelligent changes. And he wrote a book about it, and he's breaking, his timeline down. And I said, wow, I mean, this is where, things are going to go kind of somewhat left. But if we can, overall, if we can basically, like, like the term you always use, you feel me? As long as we go back to nature, like that term for humanity needs to be really on top of the forefront. Because what are you going to do? Some didn't pass the C19 test. You feel me? And so now when this next one comes up, and merging with AI, just so you can get a paycheck, or, well, you got to fend for your family, and all of these things are going to be playing into this decision that people are going to make. So that this fork in the road, how this whistleblower was saying, was basically breaking down, there's a fork in the road coming. And so it's going to be up to humanity to decide which way you're going to go. You're going to stay organic, you're going to go back to nature, or are you going to merge and be computerized and all that?
That's a fact, man. A lot of people gonna make their decisions based on just having to feed their family, and that was because that's exactly what happened already. When it came to the C19, when it came to COVID, a lot of people made their decisions because they like, shit, I gotta feed my family. Like, I'll see what happens to me with this shit later on. But right now, I know I gotta pay my mortgage. Right now, I know I just had a new baby. I'm not losing my job. But then there were those who were brave enough to say, hey, uh, I'm not allowing anybody to tamper with, my body, and let alone tamper with my mind. and my spirit or my soul. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna take my chances. But like you said, it's gonna be survival of the fittest. Everybody ain't fit to survive without the help of the government, who's allegedly approving the depopulation agenda in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? So that was real key what you brought up. Just, that's gonna be the main reason everybody makes every decision that they make. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's as we move forward, Key, and I'll tell you and everyone that's listening, I'm never listen. I'm never going to let people forget, never, about the C-19. I'm never going to let humanity forget, because humanity bought into the thug. They bought into the gangster. They bought into this parasite. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it was, during that time, you feel me? I made sure that I broke all the rules, because it didn't make sense. Everything didn't make sense. You understand? Nothing made sense to me. And all conspiracy theorists, all skeptics were saying one thing that everybody wasn't looking at, right? The ones that took it. The one thing that we were all saying was, we don't know what's in it. And people said, "Oh, I don't care. I'm doing," people were telling me, Key, like, why don't you get the little jabby wabby, man? Do it for humanity. Like regurgitating, these thugs, regurgitating these parasites, and Fauci was the face of this parasitical nature that hired Fauci. Do you understand what I'm saying? So as we move forward, I'm never going to let anybody forget how, the C-19, they tricked you, and people fell for the trick. So now when we move forward, I'm always going to remind people, look, the choice will always be yours. No one can tell you what to do with your life. I can't tell you what to do with your life. But make sure whatever decision that we all are going to make, that we have all, not some, not a little, but we need all the information about everything that's about to transpire. Now that.
That's a fact, man. We do need all of the information, but when a lot of the information is being upheld, in some cases, the best thing you can do is use your common sense, and you have to know your enemy. You have to know your enemy. I mean, you can't defend yourself against someone who you don't believe is an enemy. That's how people are infiltrated, and that's how the people have been infiltrated, because we're looking for to our government as a savior when we have solutions. This is why people bought into the jab. This is why people are so, comfortable with getting their food from the grocery stores and not trying to grow their own food. Hey, man, that's too much work. I just want to go to work, get paid. I want to do what I do on the weekends, man, and do it all over again. I don't want to have to worry about this. So at the same time, that's putting us in a vulnerable position. You understand what I'm saying? A real vulnerable position. So we don't have a plan to really combat what's happened to us. I think we're looking at shit like, you know, it don't matter about no race war. That's only gonna distract us. That's not gonna stop the plans that's happening. The plans is to depopulate this motherfucker, because it's not a lot of them. The only reason that it looks like it's a lot of them, if you follow the numbers of what they tell you, then you're gonna be tricked and deceived. When Arabs come over here, they gotta come say they white. When Mexicans come over here, they gotta say they white. Puerto Ricans, motherfuckers from Italian people, Australian people, everybody who come over here have to say they white, and that's what hype they numbers up. It's not a lot of them people. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not just talking about straight white people, because I believe there's different types of white people. The JEW motherfuckers, it ain't a lot of them motherfuckers either. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
So if they can depopulate this motherfucker before they have to go under the ground, it won't be so hard to come back up. They can manage everybody from underground who gonna go along with the shit that they putting down. If you finna pick up what they putting down, then you're able to be in their slave system under this artificial intelligence governing system. This is what's coming. This is what the flock cameras are for. This is what the robotic police dogs and all this shit is for. An artificial intelligent governing system. There will be an artificial intelligence police force, because they're not gonna physically be doing a lot of shit. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this is for after so much more people wake up and say, hey, I'm not gonna help y'all carry this shit out. Like, you dig what I'm saying?
No, I'm feeling you all the way, and I agree with you.
So yeah, man, that's what we dealing with. And I think we just gotta be able to comprehend. Reading something is one thing, but then reading and comprehending goes hand in hand. You can't read without comprehending, and you can't comprehend without reading. So I think we're so fascinated about reading shit that we thinking that, the war is won. Once I know it, think just knowing something is gonna change something. No. Having knowledge of something, just having the knowledge ain't the power. It's like the faith without works. Once you
Yeah.
know better, you do better. It go hand in hand. Like, you feel what I'm saying?
No, 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 that's facts. I rather deal with people that like to execute instead of just writing down plans or knowing something. Right? It's just I like executing, like run the play, so we can see where, okay, where did it go right, where did it go wrong, and so when the next play comes in, we already know where to rectify it. Do you know what I mean? So I totally feel you on the faith without works, portion you just said. Like, yeah, I'm about the works. You know what I mean? People can have faith and belief in something, or write in something, or have knowledge in something, but if you're not executing it, it means nothing.
That's a fact, man. And we should be at least just able to feed ourselves, playing like pecan trees or some shit that we gonna really be able to eat, because man, it's hard to eat anything that ain't contaminated now. If you seen that recall list, man, damn near everything in the grocery store is on recall, man. It's crazy.
And and look, I'm having a problem with this too. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, I know that food, is a chemical, and so what I'm eating could affect my thinking and my brain, right? So I'm falling a little bit weak here. Like, I'm eating food that I shouldn't be eating. And if I'm going to eat this food, that means that I'm going to have to work this food off. Where heavy exercising and training needs to be administered. In my life, and I'm working on that as we move forward. But I wanted to even let people know, what I'm coming to the understanding now, with especially about the topics that you're talking about. When people have going through their awakening on things, I'm not going to force anyone to awaken. Everyone has got their own path and journey. So I'm not going to fault anyone for believing in the system, because at one point, we all did, at one point, and then we had that physical awakening of, oh my God, Michael Jackson is right. They really don't care about us. You know what I mean? So, once a person gets to that point, you know, hopefully quicker than anything, that the population here in America, does that. And I think we will be fine. I think we'd be able to put up a really good fight
Mic
if.
check, mic check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Mic check. Can you hear me, Key? Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear it. If you're saying something, I can't hear you at all, Key. No. All right. So I'm gonna keep going just in case. Right. If anything happens, just interject at any time, Key. When you if you can hear me, so I know that you're there.
Oh yeah,
You know.
most there.
Oh,
Mic
okay.
check.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, yeah, man. They wanted to kick me off, but um, damn, it kind of took off a little bit of what you were saying. But I know you were saying about eating foods, and yeah, that's kind of difficult. It's like that's like gonna have to be turn into. It's gonna have to be a person's habit. It's gonna have to become habitual. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Depending upon what type of situation that you're in, a lot of people not in a position to be able to eat the way they want to and be on top of this shit. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just one of the things that people are gonna have to make a priority if they want to be able to dodge some of the shit that's being put inside of the food. You understand what I'm saying? They know what to put into the food to trigger what they need triggered inside of a person. So it's kind of like dealing with frequencies and shit like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. 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 Like we just OG just played something about nanotech. The guy was talking about nanotech, and so they're able to put some of these nanobots into food, which now, you know, can now they can control you from the inside, and they can control you from a distance by using a Bluetooth. Like a Bluetooth now is inside of people. So Joe, just hearing this guy confirm what I've been reading, about targeted individuals, is that now, he put the stamp on it that, okay, they they are really now attacking the soul and the mind of people, just as they're attacking, the earth at all times. And I land right there.
Oh yeah, that's a fact, man. Like I was talking about those frequencies, they gotta get it inside the body, preferably in the bloodstream or the towards the nervous system, central nervous system, where they could be able to have the most control. I think that some people have more nanotech inside them than others, and I'll explain. I feel like there's nanotechnology inside of the I feel like there's nanotechnology inside of the air. Uh, I feel like there's nanotechnology inside of the water. I feel like there's nanotechnology inside of the cosmetic products, the food, everything that we can possibly um, know today. And I say that because if they're making fake food, then why wouldn't they put nanotechnology in it? Scientific food. Scientific food would consist of nanotechnology if they're going to want to be able to control from the inside. But I feel like a shot to the arm and straight into the bloodstream will put more into the individual. So I feel like a certain amount is needed for the receptors to connect. Like if you got a light bulb and that bitch ain't gonna work if it ain't 60 watts or 90 watts. Like you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I feel like I was saying it's gonna be different for different people. I feel like your um, age, your gender, your weight, your ethnicity, your blood type, all that makes a difference on the dose that's needed. That's why a lot of people may say, well, black people are being targeted. Well, maybe you need a higher dose than another person. Like, that makes sense what I'm saying?
No, no, no. It makes perfect sense. Make perfect sense.
Yeah. So, you know, I feel like um it's gonna work more on those who um, feel subject to the jab. It's gonna work more on those who won't stop eating the fast food. People who won't stop drinking water out of the sink. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because this is where it's mostly coming in. But if you keep in a high vibration and you're avoiding those type of things, it won't have as much an effect on you as it would others.
No, that's fact. And really don't yeah, like don't quote me on this. This is my opinion here on what you're saying, right? That there's nanotech and everything, and I would say my opinion on that would be the proof of this is happening is that the phone and the computer that people are using, even though that when you type in the word, if you're thinking about something, this is just my opinion, right? Because you're saying everything is the nanos and everything, and I'm in that. I agree with that. And the proof is when you're thinking about something, and then you open up your phone, and that thing that you're thinking about pops up. Or if you're thinking about, okay, what topic should I talk about, and then you put one letter in the search engine, and then all of a sudden that topic is in one of the lists. So that could be, this is just my theory. That could be an indicator that, hey man, you got them nanos in you, man. You know what I mean? So
You got that 990 boo boo on you.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
I agree. That the nano could be receptors, but also I think that what they were doing with the CERN machine was I think they were manipulating the frequency of the ether. And we're talking about the ethereal waters. So with the ethereal waters, it's like a highway system. You know what I'm saying? It's like a earth without a body, the ethereal waters. And on that earth is where your spirit lie. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
this is why we kind of they pirates, you know what I'm saying, of the Caribbean. They pirates of the Caribbean people because they were able to steal our ship. Your car is the top of the pyramid and your macabre. So they were able to. These the waters that they talking about. These are the ethereal waters. You know,
Mhm.
from the primordial waters. So these people when we're under what's the law? I'm losing my train of thought, man. The uh, under the law of the water, what they call it?
Oh, isn't that maritime law?
Maritime law. Maritime law. This is maritime law is also covers the ethereal waters, these primordial waters. You understand what I'm saying? So these
Mhm.
people are able to send frequencies. They're able to send frequencies to different channels and different networks and shit. We able to have Bluetooth and all that. So, but they copy this from the body, from the mind. So
Mhm.
we have a net around us. Our net. We have an internet. So your net is your ethereal body, which sits outside your body. This was what makes up your aura. So when you have thoughts and feelings and shit like that, it fills up in your spider web. Say you got a spider web, you Spider Man. So when you think about some evil shit, your mind create that evil shit and then it place it in your web. Where the spot go for that part of your mind that think of shit like that. See what I'm saying? So this is how you could say you created a demon or something like that shit is in your head. This is where they come up with these alternate realities and all this shit, which I really don't fuck with, because it's an agreed upon state of consciousness that everyone can occupy by agreement or acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
So the phone is reading this web. Once it's in your hand, you got 6 degrees of separation between you and anybody else. Which that's why people say, "Give me my personal space." Your personal space consists of a whole another 3 feet in front of you and on all sides of you, because motherfucker, that's your other body. Why do you think that's still your personal space if a motherfucker's not touching you? Because you occupy that space too. You just gotta know about the other you.
Yeah, that's triple double facts. And I tried to explain something to Smoke Signal, and when a salute to Smoke, right? That when I explained it, he said that that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So I'm going to put it in a different way for Smoke Signal, right? And the way I'm going to put it is, we live in a, to expand what you're saying, like this other body, right? So what the construct, the environment we're in, there's called the law of duality, right? The universal natural law of duality. So if our environment is like that, we are products of this environment. So if there's a sun and then there's a moon, well, then when we look at us, you have to really come to grips with it, because we're not separate from nature. We carry the same principles, and no one's going to break the law, the true law. And so with the law of duality, when we speak about us, you have the physical side, and then you have non-physical spiritual side to you. That's just how I would break it down to Smoke Signal if I ever have a conversation with him again. And I like,
Oh yeah, we cannot separate the two. You are physical and non-physical at the same time, broke up into 3 different levels of physicality, non-physicality, and the combination of both. This is where the unseen meets the seen. This is like the equinox. This is what that whole, when you talk about fire, water, air, and earth, the fire is that spirit inside of you. But the water, air, and the earth is the sky, the ground, and the water. You understand? That's mind, body, soul. The fire travels within the fire, water, air, and the earth, or the mind, body, soul. You understand what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
So it's occupying it. That's Jonah and the whale. We got to look at this thing like a micro, macro situation. We are not separated from the earth, because us and the earth are one and the same. We inside the womb right now. We inside of the belly. And then once you pass from this body, then it will be this is gonna be like another birth. You understand what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
So it's
absolutely.
always a cycle happening over and over again.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I love about life, right? Which is the present. This is the gift, to have these thoughts and emotions and actions, right? And that it's all about how you really perceive things, how you look at things. If you understand that, okay, whatever they taught me about myself or our environment is wrong. They lie, right? They're liars. And it's a great thing that they lied to me. It's a great thing. It builds, it helped me build more character. That now that they lied, that it helped me, okay, look into things more, study more, sit with self more. And then you can put the pieces together here. And Tesla said it. Nicolau said it. I'll keep it in our era. Nicolau said it. He said, "Hey, listen. if you if we can focus on the energy and the vibration and frequency, right, within ourselves and our environment, and have our technology do the same thing, we would advance so quickly within 10 years. And I think that what the establishment is doing is giving us a non-organic operation here with whatever they're planning to do with AI. So this is where I'm looking at things from a high perspective. Not.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, like, like I always say, man, I think we get bored, with the way life's supposed to be. We try to manifest our own pleasures or enjoyment when it comes to life. So, I feel like, we start to create shit and some of the shit get a little bit corrupted. That's gonna always happen in time. So I don't really look at it as advancing, because I think when we look at it to advancing, I think the thought of advancing makes us want to not be what we are. you know, we just can improve, but not advance, because that's gonna change us from what we are. We think we supposed to change. We want to be either robots or gods. Is on one end or the other end. When we could just be regular people and just cut all the bullshit off. What somebody else trying to put on us, or what we can have put on us inside of our own mind, the shit that we create inside of our own mind. Just accept life for what it is, do what we supposed to do in life. Shit, I should be. If I wouldn't have went through the shit I went through, I was on the path. I was growing my own food and having my own livestock and shit like that. So it's not really my fault why I'm slowed down on that right now. But at the same time, it is. So if we could just start to accept how shit is and improving how shit is, you see what I'm saying? And we've taken a lot of this American dream shit that put us to sleep so bad. I'm including myself in this. When it comes to having thoughts about, being an entertainer or a rapper or
You still there? You still there?
yeah,
Okay, there.
yeah, shit like that. So, you know, I just feel like we should really, when I say us going back to nature, I really mean like a natural way of things. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean us really going in the woods and living in the woods. I mean, if you want to move to a country area or a wooded area to get away from the city, that's fine. But what I'm saying about going back to nature is a natural way of living. Like, at some point, I don't need no cell phone that work better than this one. You know what I'm saying? If it work any better than the one I got right now, the motherfucker gonna have to be attached to me. This is good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Some of the shit we try to advance so much, that's why we get took to where these people are going, because we're now leaving the door open for other shit to happen. We got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. It's like playing poker or playing chess. Like, see what I'm saying? It's the game of life when we dealing with these type of people. And these are their rules. We're on the monopoly board with these people, but at the same time, they are trying to manifest their dream of creating another reality. This has been their thing ever since Star Wars and shit. They've been trying to create another dimension where they can be like gods on. We talking about being a god. That's you. A god want to create his own world, want to have his own world. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
So God want to have his own world. That's what these people are trying to do. When we start talking about the metaverse and all this type of shit, they're trying to create their own dimension. This was what Star Wars was when we was watching Star Wars, and these people were traveling the skies, the universes and shit like that. These are
Mm.
all dimensions in the mind. These ain't other real physical places. They're dimensions in the mind. Right now, we're in the mind of the creator. We're a conception in the mind of the creator. We're inside the body. We're inside the head. So, these people want to be able to create their own dimension that we live inside. This is why the metaverse sounds so perfect and all that shit. But what we're looking for is this shit to happen physically when it's happening psychologically. And they've
Mm.
had already put a stamp on the subconscious to leave for the manifestation of their destiny of creating a new dimension for to house souls on. This is how they're trapping souls and shit like that.
And what I would say, like for an example, I'll give you an example of uh, tech that works for us, right? Like YouTube, StreamYard. This gives us the ability now to do something. We mentioned this earlier. This gives us the ability to actually speak to people on the other side of the world to see what's going on there. You know, uh, from the 60s and even before that, they didn't have that access. So this type of tech, you know, that could bring us together. Now we can learn more from each other. We can be more efficient, as a whole. Of course we want to focus on, the brothers here in America. And I think that should be the first thing that we do, right? Is to make sure that, us is okay. And then whatever answer we have, a solution we come up with here in America, then we be able to help others kind of, copy what we've done. Because that's one thing I do know about the brothers here in America, along with the sisters here. Like, and I think I said this before, you know, right now we can be the leaders of the new school. And there's this window here. There's a window of opportunity that whatever the brothers do here and the sisters do here, whatever which way we go, people are going to follow. Off top. Off top. This is the place for a lot of things to happen. And this is why the brothers here in America is under severe attack, you know, externally and internally. But once we can figure something out, I think we'll be just fine, Keith.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but I just look at it a little different
Mm,
because us having the internet and shit, it's kind of like a fat person being able to go and get a BBL or a liposuction and shit, and which is fine when we want to do shit that's unnatural. It's unnatural for us to snap our fingers and be able to do something. So back in the day when I was doing music, we didn't have the internet and stuff. And I hear a lot of people say now, well, it's easier for me to talk to people in Texas. It's easier for me to talk to people in New York. But what we did back in our day, what made us elite and what made us worthy of being heard by other people, we were able to figure out how to do that. See what I'm saying? We were able to physically do that. And I feel like when you working out and stuff and you lose the weight, you build a certain level of integrity. You understand what I'm saying?
mm.
So building a certain level of integrity by achieving step by step without taking any shortcuts just will make for a more prestige of a individual. And that's just how I feel in my mind. So rather than us when it's time to talk to people in Africa, shit, we go to Africa. Or if we can't talk to a motherfucker just without trying to so advance this technology, we've always been able to send certain type of messages, whether it was by letter or whether it was by, you understand what I'm saying? So, and I'm not going against what you're saying, but I'm just, expanding my mind to the concept in the situation to think, there are other ways. So we got to think about them. if I want to make something convenient for me and it's accessible for somebody else who gonna use it and do what I don't want done with it, should I find another way to do what I'm gonna do, or do I just gotta accept that it's somebody else who gonna use what I'm using to do something that I don't want done with it too? You get what I'm saying?
Mm. Hmm. And I tell you this, what did Maybach say? Maybach and LTK said, and I really felt what they're saying. I was like, the way how we used to live and do things in the 80s and 90s ain't gonna work today. We had to change up.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
No, I agree because see, we changing the times though. That's what I'm saying. We stopped changing the times. The only reason times change is because we accepting that they advertising to us. The time is an illusion. So it's not like you know what I'm saying. This is a different time. It's only a different time because we accept new shit. Once
Mhm.
we stop accepting new shit and just, hey man, this just like the times ain't gonna change. It's not going from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. See, this is another dimension in the mind what I was talking about that
Mhm.
really don't exist to be, if you want to be for real. It only exists in our mind. They're giving us a linear timeline to follow, which really doesn't exist. So we're helping to manifest that destiny. We're going down that straight line with it. Like, you understand what I'm saying? It,
Mhm.
if we accept, what do we value? Do we want to keep going to buy foreign cars and shit like that? Okay, well, we can't really fight against the system then if we don't want to stop doing certain type of shit, because there's certain type of shit that we not gonna even do if we had the power to do it. We would keep it pretty basic. Like a lot of people say, we don't know how to make this and we don't know how to make that. If we were in power, we wouldn't. That has just become a pleasure of certain individuals who've obtained that characteristic, which includes um involving themselves in whatever activity that they become obsessed with. You understand what I'm saying? But it's a
Mhm.
lot of shit that we wouldn't even do if it was just us being able to make shit. I think we'll be making basic shit anyway. We wouldn't even fuck the earth up to even make some shit that's fucking the earth up, but we like it and it's all good to us. Like, you see what I'm saying? The more um 5G towers and 6G, we got to keep expanding the G on this shit to make this shit more powerful and powerful. So, and we know that this shit making us sick the more these towers are put up and the more frequencies that are smothering out these ethereal waters, because that's what it's doing. Is polluting the ethereal waters. That's why we get sick. Your ethereal body is the one that's getting sick because you're supposed to have those airways clear to be able to do telekinesis. But niggas looking up on AI, the humans used to do telekinesis, but we want more of a telephone and we want to do telekinesis too. You can't have both.
Hmm. No, I can see where what you're looking at, and I think that's really comes down to an individual basis thing, right? Where like for an example, for me, I won't write things down in the computer, right? If I have, like, let's say, a personal thing going on that I want to write a story or something of that nature, I won't use the computer. I would go old school with it and write it in a notebook. I feel that it's more secure when I write it down in a
Right.
notebook versus on the computer. So I would say that everything will be based on, I think, individually. How far does a person would you want to go? I know right now, AI is helping others create, generate certain things, and it's also taking some things away. But this is the fork in the road here. Where do we want to take this whole ordeal here? I think that if we can be like the brain and just stay right in the middle, you know what I mean, and have both, but it's got to benefit humanity versus really strip us away from being,
Yeah,
like you said, normal human beings.
that's why I asked you that question earlier because that's a hard one. It's like, you know, keeping the gun in the house with the children. I know I got small children. I got the gun, but shit, I can't watch it all day, every day. I just gotta hope don't nothing happen or try to put a lock on it. Even if I put a lock on it, what if they get the key to the lock or another key, or what if the lock breaks or anything? There's always possibility. So now, do I take myself out of the environment where I need these things, or do I just keep trying to prevent something that happens? But either way, it has to be a preventiveness for the bad thing to happen. We can't just have both things and say, "Hey, everybody just get to make their mind up," because that's what's happening now. That's why things the way they are. So that wouldn't be no fix. That's exactly what's going on, and that's why there's a push and a pull and a push and a pull. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those things to, convenience, curiosity, and convenience kill the cat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's just something we have to be prepared for. You know what I'm saying? Would you die for this shit? You feel me?
yeah. And you know, because I'm at a point here. I'm at a point here, Key, where I'm not trying to. I don't want to control anyone at this point. You know, I I really want to just, for me, you know, as long as I'm, you know, have a strong head on my shoulders, I think that's what matters most to me right
I
now.
agree. I
You know,
agree. And I think the only people who is trying to control somebody is the government. That's what I'm saying, man. So,
facts, facts, facts.
not to control nobody, just to make a person aware. That's all you can do. It's like if you see a little kid about to get hit by a car, do you say, "Well, fuck it, I ain't gonna say nothing to him because if I yell at the kid, I'm gonna scare it. Then for those little few seconds, everybody gonna be mad at me. So fuck it. I'd rather just let the kid get hit by the car rather than yell or grab it or like, you see what I'm saying?
Mm.
And kind of a sense is kind of like the same thing. I'm just really just trying to think logically, like, you feel me?
No, I know, no, I totally understand. It's, with the car example, it's almost like the fire example. Like, look, I told the child, listen, don't put your hand in this fire, because you put your hand in this fire, you're gonna burn now. And at a point now, you know, the child is, he wants to figure it out, right? And okay, cool, figure it out. Put your hand in that, and
Nah, nah.
go ahead and put your hand in
So
that fire. And then the child is going to put their hand in that fire, and it's going to get burned. And then I can look at the child now, and the child
nah,
looking
nah,
at me, the child looking at me and
nah,
going,
nah.
ah, ah, ah,
I gotta give a disclaimer. I gotta give a disclaimer, man. We ain't letting no children stick their motherfucking hand in no fire. We gonna get tired of telling them till our face turn blue. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And
See, that's a
look,
part of being an adult. That's a part
that's
of
true.
being a higher mind. That's your job. Your job is to, they say gods take care of babies and fools. That's what give you a higher mind. You're supposed to always want to tell somebody something. It don't matter. One day when they do figure it out, then you showing by example how to be the higher person. You understand what I'm saying? We can't let the baby stick his hand in there under our watch. Now, if the baby stick his hand in there when we ain't looking, that's one thing. But we can't let the baby, okay, go ahead, motherfucker. You better see. Stick your hand in that motherfucker. Go on burn it, because I'm tired of telling you. You know what I'm saying? That's
And look, and the beauty about that, listen, and the beauty about that outcome, I bet you 99.9% after the child burns his hand or her hand, I bet you they'll never do it again because now, look, because now they know. Look, I did it with the children in high school, right? You know, then
Yeah.
I'm coaching.
Maybe we use the bad example, man. I don't know.
No, no, no. It's called the tough love. It's called the tough love example, right? Right. And
so
this is what
so
I
so
learned.
so now when the people see you and they see your baby got a bull on his hand, now they gonna say, "Oh, what happened to your baby's hand?" Then you gonna be like, "Well, I was telling that nigga don't stick his hand in that fire. He kept doing it. I said, fuck it, I'm gonna let him stick his hand in the fire, and that's what his little ass get." See, then you gonna go to jail, man, for child endangerment.
Hey, look, look, look. See, both my parents, right? Both my parents, I had tough love in the home. You feel me? There three boys total, and so my father would say all kind of outlandish stuff, but I got it after I went against it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like he told me, don't do that. Look, if you do that, this is what's going to happen. And I looked at my father like, oh yeah, let me see. And then I said, and I looked at my father. He looked at me. He said, so do you understand why I told you that? I was like, yeah, I get it now. I get it now. He was like, okay, well, then he said, well, that might be the way you have to learn things. And that right there, you know, and this is the hardest thing for parents that I've noticed, right? Watching, you know, because I've been around children and watching how parents, you know, really protect, and we're supposed to protect our children. Let's not get it twisted here. I'm not saying let them just go to the deep end, but what I'm saying here is that in order to really know something, one must experience it. Sometimes speaking to your child, right, and giving them the game and all of that, it works. Don't get me wrong. It works. But what's really effective if that child experiences it? Now they actually
but
know.
see, experience come from you having the mind and the discernment to be able to see the shit happen to somebody else. Cause I ain't gotta let you burn your hand for now. If you a child, now you got sisters and brothers. See, somebody just gonna fall on that motherfucking heater or something, on accident anyway. Then you gonna see that shit. You gonna see their leg burn or how hard they cry or yelling, and that shit is scary. I just feel like as the parent or the most intelligent person, people or whatever you want to call it, higher mind or whatever, is their job to just don't let that baby. This is a badass baby. Now I'd rather pop this baby on the ass 2 or 3 times than let this baby stick his hand in this fire. Cause what if this baby trip while he's sticking his hand in the fire and now he fall in there and now he done burnt his motherfucking face and stomach and shit. Now all I want the little motherfucker to do is burn his hand and see, I could have prevented that by just popping him on his ass a couple times and he gonna get it then. I could take this fucking candy or whatever, juices from him or something and tell him, I'm just, because I'm looking at a situation to where we gotta come to each other with a different approach that we've been coming to. Just being a black man in America, an indigenous man in America, and seeing how it's so hard for us to come together. I'm just and how aggressive we are with each other, which causes conflict to where we kill each other just as much as everybody fucking else is killing us. I'm just thinking logically, how to deal with situations with one another, especially when using the baby and the adult analogy, because we're actually dealing with a knowledgeable person and a not so knowledgeable person. It can be about anything. It could be about food. It could be about voting, or how much do you love this person? It's not like we gonna be talking to somebody we really don't know like that. Everybody's supposed to be family oriented anyway. So when you're dealing with somebody, the reason I like the analogy of the child, because it don't have to be a child, it could be a family member or somebody you really love. Now, would you allow that family member to harm themselves so that they can learn a lesson, or would you have unconditional love for this person, and would you continue to speak up and show up and protect this person? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
All right, so I'm gonna answer this in a football analogy. Okay. Okay, so with the child, I'll tell him, look, in order for you to succeed in this play, you gotta step with your left leg. Now to get the child to do this, right? He'll still battle it and step with his right leg. And even during the games, and we'll go over it in the film session, and we're looking at it, and it was like, look, I told you to step with the left leg, but you keep going right. You're not winning. I said, look, just listen. And this is like week 2 now, week 3. Look, just step with the left leg and watch what happens. So the child had to go and failed for 2-3 weeks. And then when he stepped with the left leg, it's like it went like something clicked in his mind, in this child's mind, in this young man's mind. It clicked, and then we're watching the film week 4, and then the play comes up, and then I said, "Look what happened. You stepped with the left leg. What was the outcome? You won, right?" "Yeah, coach. Yeah. You're right. You're right." I said, "Yeah, I know, because I'm telling you, now that you experienced it, the child never got the thing wrong again." So, with your example, and when we're speaking about adults here, right? We're speaking about adults here, that if we're telling you something and then you go against it, okay, go ahead. Bang your head against the wall. But when you do it our way, now you saying, okay, and then that person, the adult, is going to say, look, I'm done banging my head against the wall. I'm going to do exactly what these brothers said to do. And then when you do it, it works. That's it right there. It's the light bulb goes off in the head. And the other example I would give is when I was doing algebra for the first time. And at the 52nd problem, after 2-3 weeks, trying to figure it out and going against the teacher, and it doesn't make sense. Something clicked. Whatever the teacher said, it clicked. I was just like, oh, that's what she meant.
Yeah, because damn, I was gonna say, now I'm guilty of this too, because during the jab time, I was telling people, hey, but once I really saw that they had their mind made up and shit like that, and they got 1, then they got 2, then they got 3. By
Mm.
that time, I did give up. I didn't continue to. I'm just, I would mean moving forward. And then I kind of feel bad about that, even though I knew. It's like I knew, even though they didn't know, I knew, but I knew that that's what they wanted to do. And then I just said, well, hey man, that's what you want to do. I tried to tell you, but now I feel bad. It's like sometimes, you know, that time can be the last time every time. You know what I'm saying? Type of thing. That's just where my mind went, man. I started thinking about the jab situation. And, that's something that can't be erased. I mean, maybe there can be something that could be done to really get rid of some of the sickness that was injected, or maybe get rid of the nanobots. But I think that at this point, the DNA is altered. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
mm,
So,
mm.
how do you fix that? Or what lessons can be learned from that? Don't take another one. You already took that one. It's kind of too late.
Yeah. And see, especially when we're speaking about the jab, right? My stance even as a child, it was, the vibe was, it's always us versus them. And so now in my adult state, when I came to grips with things, like there's only one war going on right now. It's the battle for your soul. Now, if that person that I said that there's a battle for your soul, and try to give that person details somewhat into, okay, with this, and like I would say, hey man, you don't know what's in it. And then the next step, they're going to threaten women, you know, and their children not to go back to school. I was like, do you see the play? Like, do you see the play? If you don't see that play, listen, it's out of my hands at that point. And I understand how you would feel bad, you know. I look, when I see that, and when I see a child fail, yeah, it's my. Sometimes I feel like it's my fault, but at the same time, what was it, the paradox thing going on. Like, listen, I tried to explain to you, and now you got nanobots inside of you. What do you want me to do at this point? What do you want me to do? Like, I tried, and so where it comes down to, when we were trying to help, because I know I feel you, Key, because I was trying to help too, brother. I was trying everything that I could. I felt like I was looking back. I think I was trying too hard. But this is where Dr. Blair, like I went against Dr. Blair's teaching. He said, get with your like-minded people. Don't worry about that unwise. It's not, look, and for the people that you explained and you tried to save them and all of that, listen, it wasn't their time. They had to learn the hard way. And it sucks that some children and some people have to learn the hard way. But I can guarantee you, if that person that took the jab, or the child that put their hand in that fire, I can bet you and guarantee you that they ain't going to do it again. They're going to be more aware of, okay, I took this jab. Now I had kidney failure all the time. My kidney failed. My right eye don't work no more. I can't see probably out of my right eye. Why? Because you got the jab. So down the line, they would be more cautious and more aware of the decisions, that they're going to be making. It's almost like how, what's that saying? With that saying about the fish, you don't feed the guy fish, you teach him how to fish. Do you know what I mean? So he can fend for himself. So it's almost on those lines. Like, I'm not going to feed you the fish. I'm going to show you what's going on, and so now you can handle yourself. Like, look, I told you about the fire, but you went still and didn't. Look, I told you don't do this. You don't know what's in it. And that, do you understand what I'm saying? It's almost like, okay, I got that. I'm trying. I'm trying my best. But if you ain't going to do exactly what I said, or, hey, listen, man, it's out of my hands. And I'm not trying to control people at all. I'm not trying to control people at all. I can just bring you the information, and then you do what you feel best.
Yeah, teach them how to fish. Well, teach them how to fish instead of giving them a fish plate. Yeah, but you will have to figure out a way to show, to teach them. When you teaching them, because you wouldn't teach them how to fish just by letting them just go fishing.
One of my players
just to be information with the information, in
right.
line with what you're saying. Exactly.
One of my football players, damn, I can't believe I forgot my man's name, right? He told me, I think it was like week 7 or something like that. And, sometimes I'm a player's coach, so, I go hard on them, but then, I soften it up, I keep everything balanced. And then he told me he told me, hey, coach, he was like, when you're teaching us all of this stuff, because, it was a lot. I had a lot on my plate to teach. And then he said, if you could make it to where we're having fun with this, we would learn this even faster. And then it hit me, and I was just like, you know what? I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. I didn't, I should have made it more fun for you guys so you'll learn easier or quicker. And that I've always, that always left something on me, right? Where, maybe sometimes bringing the information, coming too hard with the information, might be too much for people. But if you can
Right.
somewhat put it in a joke form, people might get it a
Right.
little quicker or easier. So that's one
Right.
thing that my player said that I should kind of like focus on.
Right. That's true. That's true,
Because
man. Finding a way to get the message across. And that's kind of like what I was saying earlier. Especially like if it's my child, you know, I gotta think of a way to be like, damn, I gotta figure out a way to get this message to my child. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it,
mm,
let me get this piece of chicken or something and show them how similar this motherfucking piece of chicken is to their skin. Even if I gotta burn myself, I ain't gonna let my child burn them. You understand what I'm saying? Just thinking about certain situations, and if it's your child, if it is somebody who uh you know I'm obligated to guide, like my child. You understand what I'm saying? Not somebody who, I'm not any in in relation to, or they not my child. I can't really tell nobody nothing, but I'm speaking more as like maybe a child or a niece or a nephew or a brother or a sister or a mother or a cousin or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? How far do we go to? Because we all we got. If they feel like they know some shit, then I'd rather ruin the relationship to get my point across. So then by the time when they see that, I was willing to ruin the relationship just to make sure that they were safe and that they knew the truth, that's gonna make them love you even more and apologize, rather than them be like, damn man, so you telling them, well, I didn't want to get into it with you, so I just let you do it. Then now psychologically in the back of the mind, they're gonna be like, damn, but I really didn't know, man, and you just let me go out like that without even putting up any effort. Now, this is a thing like between men and women. You're taking my mind to a lot of places with this conversation. I hope you don't
mm,
mind.
mm. No, no,
Because a
no. Love it,
man,
love it.
a man to get tired, and a man to be like, well, fuck it, man, fuck it. I ain't gotta deal with her. I could deal with somebody else. These people may have children together. It can be some simple shit, but it can be like a man saying, I got standards. I ain't finna keep trying to chase her or explain some shit, but that's a woman's nature. That's a feminine natured person's nature. They want to see how much you care the whole time when, you like, fuck it. She mean what she mean. She said what she said. And then she be like, well, no, I thought you was going to at least try to get, like, you see what I'm saying?
Mm,
We psychologically fucked up. Like, we dealing with traumas because of the abuse that we've been through, and we're going through trauma because of the lies that we've been told too as a people. So, you know, I was just thinking about having a little bit better approach, especially when they're sharpening up their skills on how to manipulate and deceive people. You know what I'm saying? We got to sharpen up on our skills on how to get the message out too, if we're gonna be the people who getting the message out. Cause if I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna throw the newspaper every morning and ain't nobody picking the newspapers up out the yard, then what I keep throwing the newspapers for? I might as well don't throw no newspapers or try to convince everybody of why they should pick their newspapers up. Because if everybody stop fucking with the paper, then I'm gonna lose a job. Like, you see what I'm saying? If I'm
mm,
getting something from this. And what would
mm.
I be getting out of spreading information to make people aware. I will be gaining spiritual currency from this. You understand? Because people will start to look at you as a person who's knowledgeable about what's going on in the world, so they'll get spiritual currency as some form or somewhat as a person who can see. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I totally understand what you're saying, and I would want to ask you this, right? Because I was raised on somewhat, tough love, right? Do as you're told and shut up. This was the this was the this was the theme, right? In my household, right? Do as you're told, don't say nothing, right? But I was hard headed, and so I got a lot of whoopings, right? And I got a lot of whoopings for my brothers. So what I'm gonna say, what I'm asking you is, with your life, right? How did you actually learn something?
How did I learn? I learned because I was aware as a child. You know, I didn't really have to be told. Like, I grew up with my grandmother, and she raised me with love and acceptance. So since I was able to do the shit I need to do, I learned by watching. So I would always be around older people and grown people. So I would watch, and then I would get a basic understanding in my head of how shit worked. I was smart enough to see how shit worked and put my own thoughts together of how it worked, and then just start doing shit because I had that. I was able to do that. You understand what I'm saying? I wasn't like, I really didn't have a childhood like that, should I say, to where nobody was like, sit down, be quiet, don't say nothing, just do what I say. Like, I always I can give my opinion, and my word was accepted by everybody and shit like that. So it was a difference in how I was raised, than what you just stated. So I get it. But nah,
Yeah,
shit was just kind of different for me. You know what I'm
no, no,
saying?
you said it perfectly fine, right? That you're a visual learner, right? You observe. So if we use the to go back to the child with the fire, so let's just say how you learned, right? And this is how other people learn too, right? Because there's three ways how the brain learns something. You either see it, visual, you either write it down, or you actually do it, right? So
Fact.
you got the visual down, right? So in the child, the child in the fire analogy, how you would have learned not to put your hand in the fire if someone else put their hand in the fire, and then you would have seen that like right.
Yeah,
Right, and now
yeah,
you'll be like, oh yeah, I ain't doing that. I feel,
yeah,
and
yeah.
now the child of the person learns, and the reason why I'm saying that, because
Well,
I'm a visual learner too. I watched every goddamn
and
body.
then I'm gonna add this too.
Yeah,
I had common sense enough to just feel the heat that was coming off the motherfucker to know not to get too hot on that bitch anyway. I seen people light cigarettes. I seen barbecue on barbecue, fires on barbecue meat and shit like that. So
yeah,
taking those things into accountability and having a broad enough mind to be like, well, shit, I don't want to be barbecue. You know what I'm saying?
right, right.
People put me over barbecue grills, so I was always around the grown people when they barbecue. I was at the stove with my grandma when she cooked, so I had a pretty good concept of what fire was and what fire would do too. Also, because I
Yeah,
seen it used in other ways. You understand what I'm saying?
no,
Even as
no,
a
no,
small child. Even as a small child.
no. Even one of my friends, right, would say that, whooping me shouldn't be the thing. You shouldn't whoop me at all. He says that, explain to me why this is wrong, and then that's all I would need, that explanation. And he does this even with his children today. Like, he explains a lot of things to them, and since they're like him, they get it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like, there's so many different methods.
I'm the
You,
same way. I never had to really spank my children. When they was younger, I would pop them maybe if they just was doing some shit that where they would. Only way I would pop them is if I know they testing me. I wouldn't whoop my children for making a mistake or some shit. I don't believe in that because I wasn't raised that way. But if they testing me like "fuck you, dad," then yeah, I'm gonna pop them on the ass. Yeah, what you mean? You better listen to. You see what I'm saying? But I don't believe violence is the answer for punishment of somebody who make a mistake. You understand what I'm saying? Just because I know when I'm dealing with my children, I knew what I was missing when I was a child, as far as me having a childhood. And I had to look back into my parents and I had to see, man, what was I missing? So as a father, I'm going to be more in tune with raising my children. So I'm not only going to try to make sure that my child had money or I can give them money and things like that. I need to help raise my child mentally. I have to shape and mold their mental. I have to pay attention to their spirit, like what type of things are on their mind, what type of things are hurting them, what type of, practices are they into and shit like that. So I got to raise my child mentally, physically, and spiritually. So to try to be the most complete parent that I can be, if that makes sense.
no, 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 that makes perfect sense. Even you know, look. I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate, man. Whoop your child ass when you can. Do you know what I mean? If you done told, I got popped for let's see, A, T, wash the dishes. All right. I'm still in the bedroom. And the third time comes around, wash the dishes. And I still didn't get my ass up and wash these damn dishes. Right. And then, okay, I'm doing it right now. It's serious. It's serious. And even in the schools of Europe and the schools in Jamaica, that and I'm just giving you what I've seen, right? So the schools in Jamaica, right, and the schools in England, that are English based. The principal was called the headmaster, and when you got in trouble, you would go to the headmaster's room, and you'll get caned. Now, knowing a lot of the children in Jamaica too, right? We would act up, but we already knew the limit. Like, don't do that because you're gonna see Mr. Jenkins, and Mr. Jenkins don't play, or you're going to see the white headmaster, and and I never got in trouble in Jamaica, right? But in England, I did, and I went into the headmaster's room for the first time. This is the first time I ever got in trouble, and old white man. Oh, like I was scared to death. And he grabbed that bamboo cane whooping thing, right? Now my heart racing. You feel me? And then he said, "Stick out your hand." And I said, "Oh my God." And I stuck my hand out. And then he said, "Look, I should cane you, but I'm not going to. Don't do this again." Look, Key, I tell you, look, I had the heart of joy came in, and I didn't get that whooping, and so I didn't act up. But just that the action and the fear, the same thing with the Jamaican kids, even though we was acting up, right? But that once if a person gets caned, I can guarantee you, almost guarantee you, about 90%, 80%, the child will never do that again. But then, of course, you'll have the rebellious one who would think, "I don't give a damn about getting caned." So those type of children that don't give a damn about getting whoopings or canes, okay, now you have to try another avenue into trying to help this person. And I land right there. You still there? You still there? You still there? Mic check. If you're saying something key, I can't hear you at all. All right. So now that Key is going to come back in a minute, let's take a quick commercial break right now. And the commercial break would be this. Do you have insurance? Do you worry about your medical bills? Feel free, call 1-800-WRIGGLES. His company, called The Soft Way, will make you not go the hard way on worrying about paying your bills. Yep, here we go. Call 1-800-WRIGGLES. The Soft Way. Are you back? That was our commercial break right there. Key, that was a commercial break.
I'm thinking this motherfucker finna play motherfucking song.
I was going to, but I was just like, look, I ain't got my speaker. It's gonna take too long. No. Let's just go into a quick commercial break. You know what I'm saying? Infomercial.
Oh shit. Oh shit, man.
Yeah, but
man,
there is
be wrong.
there is because I went on a Bobby Hemmett.
Are you suffering from effects from COVID? Are
Right.
you suffering from backlash of monkeypox? If so, call Tom Warner at 967-0358 and we'll get you the money you deserve.
Right. You don't have water for your ramen noodles.
Yeah,
cereal,
but no milk.
Like I said, I was going through a Bobby Hemmett. There's a channel by the name of JJ. And he brings up old school Bobby Hemmett, man. And I think and we talked about this offline. It is
and
about
if y'all hear us giving y'all all these shout outs, everybody we naming. If I don't hear you motherfuckers give me another shout out, we gonna cut that part out. Nah, I'm fucking.
And in order to, and Bobby Hemmett said something that correlates with my coaching philosophy. We can't expect the children to do right if the coaching staff is messed up at all.
Facts.
You feel me?
That's a fact.
So if we can fix ourselves, make to get ourselves on the right page, the children, just as you said earlier, you just watched, and that will teach you how to be, and that's how children mostly learn effectively. They watch all of us. You know what I'm saying? How we move, how we talking, how we doing this, how we treating each other, or how, and then now the children will emulate that.
That's a fact. That's why, one of my main things is to try to be the best person I could be as the days go. It's not really to prove nothing to nobody. You're only proving something to yourself by being better than you were yesterday. If you have a situation today, it's okay if you can think about it, and if you do make a mistake or fall short with something, you just got to try to be the better person than you was yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So I think when children are able to see that, the realness of that, I think they'll take it in a real way and just be genuine with everything, not so much as trying to fit any certain type of standards of anything, but just accepting yourself as who you are and just trying to make the best.
Yeah. And I like to tell the adults too, along with the children, if money can solve your problems, you ain't got no problems. There are things that, listen, there right now, there are things that people are going through that money can't solve this now.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like money can't solve someone who's a narcissist. Money's not gonna solve if you got a you got that package. Money ain't gonna solve that.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, money can't bring back your leg that just got gangrene, or you stepped on a landmine. I mean, maybe money can buy you a prosthetic, but it's
Prosthetic, but it ain't gonna never be the same. Right. I'm
dang,
with you.
right. So for me, and with just my mindset, you know, if money can solve my problems, hey, I don't got none, man. You know what I mean? Some people heart don't work right, lungs they can't breathe, and
Right.
money can't solve
Right.
that, and that's a real problem.
Some people don't have sexual organs. And, they shit been blew off or burnt off, or maybe they infected or anything.
Yeah,
Some people can't even talk. They tongue cut out or bit off, or you see what I'm saying? It's different
yeah,
shit. Some people can't see. Some people can't hear. Some
yeah.
people don't have parents. Some people don't have children. So, but you gotta think about it too. If everybody was to put their problems in a hat, you know what I'm saying, would you want to pick one? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be at least accept the things that you can't change and give your 100% all to the things that you can. I think that's the best way to go about it.
Facts, facts. That's one of our coaching lines. You know what I mean? That we tell to the boys. You feel me? It says, listen. You can't change. You can't change anybody else. Change you. Focus on you. Make sure you step with that left leg and step with the right. Step with the left. Do you understand what I'm saying? Change that. Like, and that's that kind of thinking and philosophy. If a person has that, that kind of takes stress away. You know,
It's a
if
fact.
you know that, listen, tomorrow I could win the lottery, or tomorrow, an investment that I made in my penny stock increased. Like anything can change, and then now your problems are gone. So I think that if people have money issues, that's a good thing in a way.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. It's been 3 hours, man. I gotta get ready to get out of here, man. It's been dope, man. You came up, shit. We've been chopping it for like an hour and a half. I did want to do this stream to present the information. I also wanted to get insight on, what other individuals thought. I appreciate you for coming up. I know DJ Jaguar. I know Pete Moses. We had Iris, who was in the comments, in the live chat. But if you were unable to join the stream or drop anything in the live chat, man, make sure y'all drop a comment. The more feedback I get on some of the things that we talking about, the more of an idea I'll know if we could come back or maybe do a panel on some of these topics. And I know right now I'm just getting back into the algorithm. So I want to make sure y'all please like and share the video to help us get back into the algorithm. Want to donate? Cash App Key Norfolk 2022. PayPal Key Norfolk at gmail.com. T Riggles, my brother, I give you a chance to close out. Appreciate
And the thing I'll close out on is one of the words you have in your hashtag, and the word is medicine. And when we speak about medicine, some say that the word medicine, when you break it down, is me die soon. So that's what I would leave. Is my last words. It's been an honor. Thank you again, Key. Great topic. We'll do this again on another time.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you. That was a nice breakdown. I'm thinking about that on the way out, man. Hey, salutes to everybody, man. Y'all know, it's always a pleasure to complete another stream. We gonna stay active with the streams, man. So y'all get ready to look for us back at least in a couple of days, man. But till next time, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Much respect. Peace and power.